our commander-in-chief is not in command. The free world deserves better than a dithering and diminished leader. America deserves leaders who recognize that secure borders, stable prices, safe streets, and a strong defense are actually the cornerstones of a great nation.
Okay, so before we get to Biden's comments, Biden's speech in the State of the Union last night, I need to address what the hell we just watched. So Katie Britt, I don't really know anything about her. She's the junior senator from Alabama, even though I didn't really catch an Alabama accent, but that's a different story. But I want to talk about her and the Republican Party generally, really quickly. What the hell was that? Is this the best the Republican Party can do? So her words, if you can listen to what she's saying, the message was a good message overall, but the delivery was so terrible that it distracted. So if you look online right now, you look at what everybody's talking about, they're like, damn, what the hell kind of speech was that? Why did she look like she was trying to act? Why did she look like she was on a weekday morning soap opera, General Hospital, something like that? Trying to do a stage play or something. The crying, the creepy smile. She would say something terrible going on. Oh, these people are getting killed. And she do this creepy, weird smile. So I'm not going to bash her too much for that because I know she's relatively new in the game. She doesn't have 50 years experience in talking in front of people like Sleepy Joe does. But damn, is this the best the Republican Party can do? You got millions of people looking at you. I know it's a harder speech because you don't have people applauding you. You can't feed off the energy of the crowd, but damn, it kind of hurt the Republican Party because the messaging in the Republican Party is a real problem. You got millions of people, tens of millions of people in the country who believe what Joe Biden actually said in his speech. And the Republicans had a chance to rebut on national TV. And the delivery was so poor that nobody's even listening to the message. Where was Vivek? Where was MTG? So they're trying to present her because I think she's the youngest female senator on the Republican side. And the biggest issue in the polls, the biggest issue that the Republican Party has going into the election is the abortion issue, the IVF. The Democrats are making IVF a massive issue, blowing it up way bigger than it is, but that's a completely different video. But damn, that was poor. Now, let's talk about the old man. My first comments, honestly, I was surprised. He stood there for an hour and a half. I was thinking that he didn't have the energy. I was thinking this man wouldn't be able to stand and blabber for over an hour. So I'm wondering what drugs did they pump this man up with? What type of dementia medication, Alzheimer's? I know he gets that really good stuff, probably some experimental stuff that's not even available to the general market, but he's on something. And you can see the speech was delayed. People sitting out there waiting for him for the longest. Where is he? Are they drugging him up extra in the back? Something going on. And the fact that the speech happened in March, I thought these speeches normally happen in January, but we're in March and you're just now giving the State of the Union. So did they need months to prep? I don't know, but let's get into some of his comments. We're not going to talk about the whole speech. He covered a lot of stuff, and I can say a whole lot. But we're going to talk about just a couple of key issues. And we're going to start with this man showing the American people what his priority is. Ukraine. And, of course, he's going to pop off at the mouth about Trump.
In January 1941, Franklin Roosevelt came to this chamber to speak to the nation. And he said, I address you at a moment unprecedented in the history of the Union. Hitler was on the march. War was raging in Europe. President Roosevelt's purpose was to wake up Congress and alert the American people that this was no ordinary time.
Mm-hmm.
Freedom and democracy were under assault.
So where are you going with this?
Tonight, I come to this same chamber to address the nation. Now, it's we who face an unprecedented moment in the history of the Union.
So 2024 is being compared to World War II times when Europe was in control of the Nazis? Okay.
Yes. My purpose tonight is to wake up the Congress and alert the American people that this is no ordinary moment either. Not since President Lincoln and the Civil War have freedom and democracy been under assault at home as they
By
are
who?
today. What makes our moment rare
Oh, by y'all trying to control speech? By y'all running fascism?
And overseas at the very same time.
Locking up your political rivals?
Putin of Russia is on the march, invading Ukraine, sowing chaos throughout Europe and beyond. If anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop at Ukraine, I assure you he will not.
So he's not going to talk about 2014, how the CIA, how Obama and Vice President Biden ran a coup, helped that coup in Ukraine. They threw out the pro-Russian leadership, the government in Ukraine, and put in a pro-American leadership. We're not going to talk about that coup that Obama and Biden ran in 2014 and provoked this whole thing. We're just going to say Putin bad, and if we don't spend money, then Putin is going to take over the whole world. Russia, Russia, Russia.
But Ukraine.
All right, come on.
Ukraine
All
can
the
stop
time.
Putin.
No, they can't.
Ukraine can stop Putin if we stand with Ukraine and provide the weapons.
Impossible.
that needs to
Provide
defend
weapons.
itself.
So you provide a third world country with weapons with overrated U.S. tech, and they still get their asses beat. So you want to provide them with more? All right.
That is all. That is all Ukraine is asking. They're not asking for American soldiers. In fact, there are no American soldiers in war in Ukraine, and I'm determined to keep it that way.
Who believes that?
But now, assistance to Ukraine is being blocked by those who want to walk away from our world leadership. It wasn't long ago when a Republican president named Ronald Reagan thundered,
All right. He's doing a lot of blabbering, comparing Trump to Hitler. Oh, we're in unprecedented time. It hasn't been like this since the Nazis. We got people in the United States who are going to vote for Trump. Freedom is on the line. So you're starting off by saying we want to help Ukraine and trashing half the American people. Didn't Trump get like 80 million votes? And a lot of people who didn't vote, they support Trump. So you get up here and trash half the country and then say, yeah, we need money for Ukraine. That's some sorry crap, man. All right, so let's get into more Trump hatred. And, of course, he's going to be talking trash again about millions of Americans, the sentiment of millions of Americans.
just like History Watch 3 years ago on January 6th, when insurrectionists stormed this very Capitol and placed a dagger to the throat of American democracy. Many of you are here on that darkest of days. We all saw with our own eyes the insurrectionists were not patriots. They'd come to stop the peaceful transfer of power.
Dude, this is so divisive. So divisive. Let's unite and support foreign wars, but screw half of y'all. I'm going to talk trash. I'm going to call you insurrectionists. If you support Trump, you are a threat to democracy, whatever that even means, because I thought we were Republican.
To overturn the will of the people. January 6th lies about the 2020 election and the plots to steal the election posed a gravest threat to U.S. democracy since the Civil War. But they failed. America stood.
They failed what? Nobody was charged with insurrection. You had a bunch of middle-aged people up there angry. And they were I showed videos before, they were let into the Capitol by Capitol Police. Nobody had weapons except for the Capitol Police, who actually deleted one of the protesters. How is that an insurrection? Nobody's been charged. Trump hasn't been charged. And you have middle-aged, unarmed people trying to take over the United States? It doesn't even make sense. But the fact that people believe this show how easily people are fooled. People are sheep, man. You know what? I'm done hearing this part about January 6th. Let's get to him talking about immigration and Lake and Raleigh and see what he has to say.
Drug detection machines to significantly increase the ability to screen and stop vehicles smuggling fentanyl into America. That's killing thousands of children.
With your wide open border.
This bill would save lives and bring order to the border. It will also give me and any new president new emergency authority to temporarily shut down the border when the number of migrants at the border is overwhelming.
Overwhelming means the border wouldn't be shut down until 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country. So he's going to talk about this bipartisan bill, right? How is it bipartisan if the Republicans are against it? If it was a bipartisan bill, would he need to argue about it? Would they need to try to put pressure on Mike Johnson here to bring the bill to the floor for a vote? No, it's not bipartisan. So you had 99% of Democrats, really in the Senate. You had 100% of Democrats in the Senate. And then you had a couple of rhinos, the Mitt Romneys of the world. You had a couple of rhinos who voted for this. So the vast majority, overwhelming majority of Republicans are staunchly against this bill. But since you have a couple of rhinos who like to kiss the Democrats' asses, they can say, oh, this is a bipartisan bill. Why don't you sign it? It doesn't even make sense. If it's bipartisan, there wouldn't be a debate about it because they will be in agreement. It will be a compromise. But this man wants to keep the border open. He's using this bill as a deflection because this immigration issue is going to hurt him in the election. And he has executive authority. Trump did all types of executive actions to slow down the influx of migrants. You can go look at the data, how it dramatically slowed down when Trump was in office. But Biden came in and his handlers made him sign all these executive orders to undo what Trump did. All of a sudden, we get this massive influx of illegal immigration. During a debate, Biden himself told these illegal immigrants to come on in. Then you got these dumbass Democrats in New York, Chicago, they're giving them freebies, incentivizing even more to come. So he's going to gaslight and say, look, my hands are tied. I can't do anything unless the Republicans agree to this horrible bill. Now, what he's not going to tell you, what this bill really is a foreign policy bill. This is a massive donation to Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan, and other countries. And then at the bottom of the bill, they say, oh, yeah, we'll do a little bit at the border, but we'll still let in almost 2 million people a year. So give us nearly $100 billion to send to foreigners on the other side of the world. Give us almost $100 billion, and then we'll give you a little bit of immigration, even though we'll still let in millions of illegal immigrants. It's a foreign policy bill disguised as an immigration bill. And then since they had rhinos, they can lie and say it's bipartisan when it's clearly not bipartisan because the Republicans don't agree. Let's continue.
The Border Patrol Union has endorsed this bill. The Federal Chamber of Commerce is, yeah. You're saying low. Look at the facts. I know.
What facts?
I know you know how
Clapping
to read.
seals.
I believe that given the opportunity for a majority in the House and Senate would endorse the bill as well, a majority right now. But unfortunately,
Nope.
Politics has derailed this bill so far.
What?
I'm told my predecessor called members of Congress in the Senate to demand they block the bill.
So it's not bipartisan.
Political win. He viewed it as a political win.
This bill is a poison pill. So Border Patrol will be allowed to hire a couple more people. They'll get a little pay raise and a little bit more equipment. And a lot of that money for them would be to do admin work, to sign paperwork, do paperwork to process illegal immigrants as they let them in as asylum seekers. But this bill is a poison pill. You're still letting in millions of illegal immigrants a year.
For me and a political loser for him. It's not about him. It's not about me.
This entire bill is
I'd
completely
be a winner.
gaslighting, a deflection.
Not really.
What? Wait, huh? What the hell you just say?
I'd be a winner. Not really.
What? The hell is he saying? And the mayor's wearing off?
Lincoln Riley, an innocent
Who?
young woman who was killed
Lincoln.
by an illegal. That's right.
Oh,
But how
illegal,
many
not a
thousands of people
migrant?
being killed by illegals? To her
I hate this talking point. It's such a deflection. We're not talking about other people. We're talking about Lincoln Riley right now. So he's saying, yeah, she was killed by an illegal immigrant. But that doesn't matter. Other people get killed by non-illegal immigrants. What does other people have to do with it? So we can flip that argument. You're talking about assault rifles, right? A couple of people are killed by assault rifles. Then we can say, well, that doesn't matter. Other people are not killed by assault rifles. They're killed in other ways. So if this illegal immigrant wasn't in the country, if they did what they were actually supposed to do, Biden and Mayorkas, the Secretary of Homeland Security, did what they were supposed to do, she'd still be alive. So we're not talking about how other people were killed. We're talking about a specific person, and the reason why this person is no longer here is because of horrific policies, and the family needs to sue the government.
Parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself.
Stop talking about
I
your own
understand.
children, bro. Stop
But
it.
look, if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border because they know if they get by and let in,
And you incentivize it.
it's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing,
Your fault.
and it's worth it taking the chance of the $8,000. But if it's only 6 weeks, the idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money and come all that way, knowing that they'll be able to be kicked out quickly. Folks.
Yeah, so he's kind of missing the mark on this. If these quote unquote asylum seekers were really asylum seekers, the policy needs to be you make them remain in Mexico or whatever other country they encounter first. They can't say I'm from South America and then come through several countries talking about they're an asylum seeker. Well, if you were just fleeing danger and you were being persecuted or whatever, why didn't you stop off in Mexico? Why did you stop off in Guatemala, Nicaragua, somewhere? Why did you come all the way to the United States? Oh, you're an economic migrant. So that's why they remain in Mexico policy was so good. Because these immigrants said that they were asylum seekers, but they had to stay in Mexico while they waited on the court hearing in the United States to determine if they can come in. So these people didn't even want to stay. They're like, damn, I gotta wait in Mexico for 8 years until my court date? Nah, you know what? I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna stay down in Venezuela or wherever. So Biden undid that, and now they're saying you can stay in the United States and come back in 8 years. So if you have a court hearing in 6 weeks or whatever, you're still going to be letting them inside the United States. So you're going to process them at the border, and you're going to say, all right, you're free to go to New York or whatever, get some free stuff, and then come back for your court date in 6 weeks. These people are going with the wind. The thing that you need to do is close the border. Don't let them in at all. Remain in Mexico. Remain wherever the hell is the first country that you encounter after you flee your country because you're an alleged asylum seeker. But those are some of the highlights. That's all I got to say about this debate. He talked about other stuff. I could talk about that, but those are some of the key points. He's comparing Trump to Hitler, bashing half the country. All they're against democracy because they're supporting Trump. These violent insurrectionists, alleged insurrectionists. Couldn't even get the girl's name right. But like I said, I am surprised that he was actually able to stand there without passing out, even though his speech was hella slurry. But pretty interesting speech. The bad thing about the speech, like I was talking about the lady Katie Britt earlier, is the Republican messaging is so bad that this speech is going to spread around the country, and we're going to have clips of it all over social media, and people are going to be supporting it and believing it. And there's no good rebuttal because the Republican messages, it's harder for the Republicans, one, because most of the media is against the Republican, and then on top of that, they shoot themselves in the foot by not spreading their messaging in a proper way, by not communicating properly. You have to inspire people. You have to speak with some vigor. You got to speak with force. You got to come with great ideas. And when they gaslight, when they tell lies, like Biden said here for several minutes, gaslighting about this bill. I can't do anything about the border because these Republicans won't sign the quote-unquote bipartisan bill, even though he has plenty of the executive actions he could do right now. And on top of that, the House Republicans already passed their own bill. Why don't they gaslight? Look, we already passed the bill. We passed the Secure the Border Act, but the Democrats are trash, and they won't even bring it up for a vote in the Senate. How many times do we hear about that? We rarely hear about it. So the Republicans really need to work on messaging because the entire media is against them. And a lot of people in America, they're just easily duped. People are sheep, man. People are followers. And they really need to find a way to work on this abortion, this IVF thing, because the Dems are going to try to use it against them in this election. But let me know what you guys think. Was it a good speech? Did you enjoy this speech? I think it was a terrible speech. I think his ideas were just all bad. I think he did a lot of lying and gaslighting. And I think it was extremely divisive the way he tried to portray people who support Trump as anti-American. They're not patriots and all of that. So leave me your thoughts about this down below. Share the video. Thanks for watching.